It appears President Biden may still be far apart from Republicans, as we just said, ahead of resuming negotiations over his infrastructure and jobs plan in the coming days. Speaking to reporters earlier this week, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell seemed to try and close the door on GOP support for the White House's nearly $4 trillion in pending proposals.
Well, I think I can pretty safely say none of my Republican colleagues are going to support a $4.1 trillion infrastructure package, only part of which is for infrastructure. So what we have offered is to support a more narrow proposal. On our side is we're not going to revisit the 2017 tax bill. We're happy to look for traditional infrastructure pay-fors, which means the users participate.
White House Deputy Press Secretary Chris Meagher joins me now. Hi there, Chris. Thanks very much for being with us. So Senator McConnell followed up those comments we just heard by saying Wednesday, quote, 100% of my focus is on stopping this new administration. So next Wednesday, Senator McConnell and other lawmakers are meeting with the president. On what specific issues does the president see the potential for bipartisan cooperation with Senator McConnell?
Well, what I can say is we're 100% focused on getting something done for the American people. You know, President Biden has said from the outset that his only red line in this discussion is inaction. It's been far too long that we haven't gotten anything done on infrastructure. And there's broad bipartisan agreement about getting something done on infrastructure. You know, the roads we drive on aren't driven on just by Republicans. They're not driven on just by Democrats. They're not driven on just by independents. Everybody drives on those roads. Everybody knows that our roads, our bridges, our broadband, our water supply is not adequate and it needs to be upgraded. And so, you know, we're really hoping that Republicans will come to the table next week, that they'll come ready to have a discussion, and we're ready to have that discussion with them.
So if not, if there's nothing productive out of Wednesday, is it just a go-it-alone approach on these plans?
Well, no, we have a long way to go. You know, the president has said from the beginning that he wants to see some progress by Memorial Day. We've been really encouraged by the conversations we've been having with people on the Hill. You know, like you mentioned, he's going to have the leadership in, both Republicans and Democrats, to have this discussion. We're looking forward to having that conversation. He's also talking a lot with Senator Capito from West Virginia. You know, she and other members are planning on visiting in the coming days and weeks, and we're going to continue to have these conversations. The president has laid out his plan. The president has laid out how to pay for it, and now he's in listening mode to hear other people's proposals, how they see this, how they're going to pay for it, and we're going to go from there.
Let me ask you about another topic here, or related topic rather, on the economy. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen had to clarify her comments this week that interest rates might need to rise to prevent inflation if the current economic recovery overheats. How concerned is the White House that the $4 trillion of proposed spending from the Jobs and Families plans could drive up prices on consumer goods?
Well, it's obviously something that we're paying close attention to. I think she was, you know, just offering a projection. She wasn't saying this was going to happen or not going to happen. She was just saying that if it did happen, that the Fed was prepared to handle it and had the tools to do so. So it's something that we're paying close attention to, but we think any inflation will be transitory.
So people, if they're seeing higher prices at the grocery store, at the gas pumps, it's something that is just an inevitable part of the recovery effort?
Or it could be something that's temporary. Again, it's something that we're going to continue to watch. Analysts are watching it closely and believe that it's something that is more transitory than anything.
All right, I also want to ask about the situation related to the southern border. The number of unaccompanied children in Border Patrol custody has dropped dramatically, but HHS is currently housing more than 22,000 migrant children, many of them in emergency facilities like convention centers and military sites. And we know the White House is working on addressing the root causes of migration and building a path to citizenship in the long term for some. But in the short term, how does the administration plan on getting these children out of government custody and into homes of sponsors?
Well, I think you're exactly right. You know, the last 4 years of the Trump administration brought destruction and chaos to our immigration system. It brought uncertainty. They separated families. And from day one, we've been working to address the influx at the border, and it's starting to pay off, like you said. Only a month ago, we had 5,000 children in CBP facilities around the country. That number today is under 600. We have seen our numbers drop drastically in terms of what's going on at the border, and we're continuing to work every day at it. But the president can't do this alone, and that's why we need to pass comprehensive immigration reform. There's no question that the system is broken, and so we need something that both enhances technology to keep our border safe, but also a pathway to citizenship for people who are here and working and members of our community.
Our time is running short here, Chris, but on March 30th, the Justice Department launched a 30-day review into its policies on hate crimes. And this comes at a time of escalating violence against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. It's now been 37 days. What's the status of that review?
Well, the DOJ has launched an initiative that will strengthen the data so that we can better understand violence and crimes against the AAPI community. It's strengthening police training, law enforcement training, so that that law enforcement can better recognize anti-AAPI violence. And so we're going to continue to go after this. We're not going to settle until we take care of this issue and continue to work. I think the president was heartened by the movement on the Hill in the Senate, which passed Senator Hirono's anti-AAPI crime bill, and we look forward to the House taking it up as well.
I just wonder, because is that review complete, Chris? Do you know? Because the advocacy group Stop AAPI Hate just released a new report today saying that since March of last year, there have been more than 6,600 hate incidents against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. And the president has said he is committed to addressing this issue. Has he been briefed on the results of that Justice Department review?
I don't have an update on a briefing with the president, but what I can tell you is this initiative at DOJ also includes outreach to these leaders on the ground in the AAPI community who are doing this important work, and we're working hand in hand with them to make sure that violence against the AAPI community starts to decrease and that there's action on this.
White House Deputy Press Secretary Chris Meagher. Chris, thanks very much for your time.
All right, thank you.